Welcome. You're listening to Doopy Deep with Dr. Nikki. This is the place where witty, irreverent, opinionated perspective meets serious, fact-based discussion. Featuring our host, Dr. Nikki Coleman, and her co-host, Tomas Bell. You can also join in the discussion during our live tapings by following us on Spreaker.com. Now, the doctor is in. It's time to get Doopy Deep.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Wakanda. I wish I really could say that. Oh my God, that would be so amazing. Some complete and total disclaimers, some of which are relevant to the podcast in terms of content, some of which are not. One major disclaimer is this is a family-friendly show in that, unfortunately, my little one is home with me with the flu. So you may hear the pitter-patter of little feet or a tiny little voice coming in to interrupt today's podcast. We're just going to politely ask her to step out of the room, but just be forewarned that that could happen. And the second one is spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. Like, if you have not seen the Black Panther movie, you want to stop this podcast now. Go see the movie immediately and then come back and listen to the podcast later on, because we're going to get into it. I'm excited. Are you excited, Tomas?
I am excited. I'm very excited.
Dear goodness. So yes.
Yes, because I'm back on that season one. Sip, 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 sip,
My
sip, sip,
goodness.
sip. Look, I just got a trim yesterday, right? So I'm looking real good up in the face. You know what I'm saying?
Don't nobody care.
And I was looking at my Target Cartwheel app before because I'm trying to get some weekend plans. So I'm just trying to really be in a good place right now.
Okay. So here's the thing, though. Right now, though, we're doing a podcast. Just right now. For the next 50 minutes, we're doing that.
Hold on. I hear you.
So rude. Don't kill my Black Panther vibe. So, if you listened last week, you will know we had some technical difficulties last week that were really just out of both of our control and really both of our understanding, because it just happened for no real reason, and the resolution came about for no real reason. It was just one of those technology glitches that happens. But then when we ended the show, we needed to end the show at a specific time because I had to literally run out the door to go see a Black Panther movie. And so after I saw it, I decided immediately, okay, we're going to talk about it. We're going to get doobie deep in the sense that I just want to talk about all things Black Panther. But I don't want to get too deep in terms of scholarship and critique and think pieces. I don't want to go there today. I really, really, really just want to celebrate the hashtag Black excellence and be in the hashtag Black joy that is Black Panther movie. So that's what we want to do with our time today. So just a little bit, and this may be a small part of my specific joy with the film, is that I'm not a comic book person. So I don't have any real sense of context about the whole Black Panther universe as a concept. I hadn't even heard of Black Panther as a superhero until about 2 years ago, when actually my daughter's best friend dressed up as Black Panther for Halloween. And I was like, well, what superhero is this? And he's like, Black Panther. And he's looking at me like, what is wrong with you, TT Nikki? Like, how do you not know Black Panther? And so I look at his mom. I'm like, what is Black Panther? And she was like, you don't know about Black Panther, Black superhero? He's a king. And I was like, say what? And I was like, why has this been kept from me my entire life? Maybe I would have been a comic book person had I known this. Shameful, I know, because you are a nerd, a real blurb over there. So I know you know all about the entire.
I need you to know me. How can you not know the king of Wakanda? How could you live your life thinking all you had was a Superman, a alien, a dude that was bit by a spider on a field trip, and some recluse who's dealing with his deep-seated mental health issues by dressing up like a bat running around town? How could you think those were your only superheroes?
So, I am so sad. I weep for Spider-Bat and Superman right now because you just broke them down and read them for filth in that 20-second recap of who they are. It's not that I thought superheroes were limited. Like, I really just don't even have a real scope of superheroes, period. Like, I don't actually know the difference between the DC world and the Marvel world. Like, it's just like they fly or have superpowers and they do things. And there's
the ones I just gave you were all DC.
Mm-hmm. I figured you would see. This is why I didn't need to do the research on this part.
In the Marvel world, they got a rich man that's dressing up in some rusty iron. They got another man who was caught in a trap of his own device and got all kind of jacked up with gamma radiation. Now, every time he don't get his latte the way he want at Starbucks, he ripping up the city.
Okay, so that's Hulk, right?
And that would be the Hulk.
Okay. I said no for
T'Challa is actually one of the only ones that really makes sense when you really think about it. You know, and Wonder Woman, I would put those two in the same sort of category. They are princes and princesses who rose through the ranks, and they actually fought to be where they are, and they have to keep fighting to be where they are. If you Superman, you just got to go to a world with a yellow sun and you good. Like, that's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. So really, Superman is like the iconography of white male privilege. Is that what you're telling me?
Right. So Superman would not be Superman if Superman was still on Krypton, because Krypton had a red sun.
So he's just a regular dude.
He a regular dude if his own planet still existed. Yes, he would be like you and me. But if this was worked that way and I happened to go to a planet with a blue sun and it gave me some extra powers, I would be Superman.
Dang. Mm-hmm. That's deep. So here's the thing. As an avid reader of fiction, I certainly appreciate the allegory of this whole like superheroes comic strip world. And it does, people in my life have asked me before, like, how is it that you're not into comics? Graphic novels, I think is the more appropriate term these days.
Well, depends. I mean, if you're talking Frank Miller, if you're talking Sin City, that would technically be a graphic novel. Though some comics can be graphic novels, they're still comic books.
Okay, comics.
And I hate to mansplain, but you can't be messing up comics.
No, I mean, so here's the thing. Sometimes a man can't explain things if it needs to be explained.
Sometimes. They just don't jump in all the time, especially when it deals with women's issues.
That's a whole different podcast. So I like that's exciting to me to think about. Like, let me say this as an avid fiction reader, but also a person who thoroughly enjoys science fiction as a primary genre that I like to read. I get like it all sounds wonderful and amazing and has so many different layers to the story. I don't know. I had not been aware of Black Panther. And so then I found out the movie was coming out and I saw everybody was up in an uproar about it, like super excited, like going crazy and losing their minds. And so when things like that happen, I sometimes try to stay outside of the fray because I don't want to be unduly influenced. So I was kind of getting the sense of like what it was about, but I didn't have a real flavor about it. And I purposely like didn't want to watch a lot of previews or anything like that. And at one point I thought, leading up to it, I thought maybe I need to get my comic book life, together and let me do a little bit of reading so I know what kind of world or ideology I'm like stepping into for this. But as life happened, that didn't happen. And I'm so glad that it did. And I do think that is a part of my unique joy with this whole thing, is that it was all brand new. Like I really was like a kid in a candy store. The whole, all of it. So like from second one of the film, where they're trying to give like the backstory, like to just put you in the context of what this whole world, the kind of Black Panther universe, if you will, is like. Within the first few seconds, I was like, okay, so I'm going to need a tutorial. So I'm going to have to at least come back on at least one other time to see this, because I'm sure there are details in this that I am not going to get, just because I'm so excited and immersed in the entire experience. And I was enthralled from moment one to moment last. Now, I've come to find out in this past week that I actually didn't even get to the last moment, because apparently there are 2 bonus scenes that run through the credits that I didn't see. So don't talk about those.
And if you were a real Marvel fan, you would know that in every one of Marvel's movies, they always give you teasers or Easter eggs, if you will, to what's coming up in the future. And Marvel gave you 2 with this one. So
I just like to go back. Maybe you could run the tape back about like 10 minutes and realize when I had said I didn't know.
See, what I had said was, okay, I need to interject. I need to do 2 things. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give a shout out to Kay Willie, who has joined us online. She has actually just sent a chat over. We see you. Thank you so much for listening live today. The second thing I'm going to do is let Kay Willie and everyone else who are listening today. We got about 10, 15 people listening live today. I want to shout out to all of them. But since we are getting doopy deep, I need to let every single one of them know the real tea. This sister sat down and saw fine brothers running around half naked, and she lost her mind on a midday Friday afternoon. Stop playing games. I know your daughter's there, so you can't get into it the way you need to.
I'm still trying to hold on to like my whole, like I'm a professional woman and I have thoughts about these things.
All that professionalism, your twist came out your hair.
The minute you get me talking about that song,
because I know I was sitting up there like T'Challa. T'Challa.
I'm talking about.
I'll be your queen, Shakala.
Hot chocolate called Mr. Duke. That's who I'm all about these days, actually. I mean, so let's talk. Okay, so let's talk about. Okay, so let's break this down. So basics. Let's get the basics out of the way, right? So we have this entire cast of beautiful Nubian perfection, just like everybody is gorgeous. From end of hair follicle all the way down to their toenails. I was sitting there watching this, like watching Okoye and Nakia in one scene, and I was like, these queens got to be vegan, because you only get that glow to your skin like that when you vegan. Like
they live in a hashtag vegan life, skin so buttery. Cocoa buttery smooth and beautiful.
Cocoa buttery smooth.
Yeah, I don't eat no meat or preservatives. I can see that.
I was like, I literally sat in the movie report. I was like, listen, you got to get your life. Put this popcorn down and get your life, because that right there was Black feminine gorgeousness.
Beautiful.
Like,
and intelligent. Like that's the other thing that we just really teach. If we're going to talk about them, let's talk about these divas. These were some of the most well-rounded, beautiful, intelligent, just everything about them was, one, a credit to character development in terms of the movie itself, but two, it's so easy for us to see, especially when it comes down to Black women, and I see it on TV all the time, these one-dimensional Black female characters in which they are just the supporting role to a Black man or a white man or whatever. This movie yes, you had these sisters playing supporting roles, but it was clear from A that if it was not for these sisters, there would be no Black Panther. Come on, ashe, ashe.
Okay.
So I was about it.
So for me,